there is a quiet pandemic that is happening across the world. And with the takeover of AI, you know, it's really affected the average person's ability to think. But let's take it a step back. Most men cannot think for themselves. And it's really been like that since the start of the social media era. Something that I see big in the men self improvement space is that many men use the same talking points over and over again. And, now being in the content, creator space, I find myself not even watching other creators besides a select few that actually have their own rich perspectives of lives because they're not viewing other people's content, taking their talking points and regurgitating it. They're not on the parrot level. They've actually used their own experience from their life and added little wrinkles from their experiences to their videos. And you could tell when someone regurgitates talking points because they only speak in absolutes. What do I mean by that? They don't understand the nuances of life. Take a guy who's been indoctrinated by bitter ass men from the red pill space. Those type of men only see women as whores, only see them as, useless. They should only be in the kitchen. They should X, Y, Z. That's what they think. So that's exactly what they're going to get. And that's exactly what they're going to attract. Passport bros. They think that going to another country is going to take away the Western mindset from these other countries, from these women from these countries, because they look at the United States and they get influenced by the United States. The only difference is their culture may be a little bit better. Most men cannot think for themselves. They regurgitate talking points. They go on YouTube, watch self improvement videos, and they mentally masturbate to ideas and knowledge instead of actually using what these guys are talking about in their videos and applying it to their own life to get their own perspectives. And this is really a pandemic because now most men are getting stuck and not knowing how to lead themselves. Forget even designing the life that they want to design. And I want to give credit where credit is due. I was inspired by another creator to make this video. Shout out to my brother, Dali J. Erodwa. You can check him out on YouTube. Great page, great channel. And I wanted a great man. I wanted to touch and expand on the talking point that he had, but really take it to a deeper level. Most men cannot think for themselves. And, as a creator now, we do carry that responsibility of, influence. Our word and our opinion matters, especially if we're men with conviction and with direction and leadership, right? And what I've noticed is that men who are misguided, who don't trust their own leadership, will watch these other guys take their talking points, use them as their own, or even worse, go into their regular life, use another man's talking points, another man's perspectives, use them as their own, and use them to stay stuck in their life. I talked about the red pill space, right? Um, I've also seen this with the church. And this is going to be very controversial, But, I'm a man of faith, I'm a man of the Lord. I read the scriptures, and when you read the scriptures, you understand it's speaking to certain people and it's speaking to men. It's really teaching men how to be in authority and how to respond to life rather than react to life, right? The church teaches men how to be suppressed. It doesn't teach men the tenets of the Bible, because if it taught them the tenets of the Bible, society would be way different. Society would be in order, in structure, very disciplined. You see, but then they look at the countries like the East, let's take the Muslim culture for an example, and they call them extremists and radical. But when you actually study the Bible, anybody who actually follows the Bible will be seen as radical. And the reason I bring that up is because it's not just, with the red pill space, self improvement space, or, the church. This is really an issue that's happening everywhere. And, I dealt with this issue myself too. I was on the parrot level, before I decided one day, I was watching these self improvement videos. I was trying to better myself as a man. And I said to myself, I really said this to myself a long time ago. Why am I gonna wait for another man to teach me when I could, and this pertaining to the Bible, when I could read the Bible myself and see it for myself? That is not to say I wasn't guided, because I was guided. The Most High guided me. He sent certain men in my life to guide me. But eventually, I had to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet and stand in my convictions and trust what I was reading, because I was reading it every day and I was like, okay, this is what this says. This guy's saying this though. He's contradicting what the word is saying. And eventually this principle caught up to every area of my life. You know, I've mentioned before on this channel, like, you know, I don't, I speak from experience. I don't I don't take talking points. I may take ideas, but I always add my own flair, my own perspective if I've lived that or a portion of it. I don't even really like to talk in theory, because really talking in theory is just mentally masturbating. And that's what happens when you solely rely on self improvement. For me, I got to that point with the self improvement videos. And this is really what disconnected me from the content creator world. Was, if I want to learn something, it does not take that long to actually search it up, watch 1 or 2 videos, apply what that dude is saying, and then add your own flair to it. Like, if we're being honest, the reason that we do that is because we don't trust our way of thinking. We don't trust our voice. And we think that thinking it out is going to get us to trust ourselves. It's not. You have to go out there, take what you've learned, apply it, and see if it's true for you. Something that works for some people is not going to work for you. I'm not here to be on this channel to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you my perspective, and you can take it or leave it, because it would be a big disservice as one man to another, as a brother to a brother, for you to just repeat what I say and not test it. I'm not afraid to test my own beliefs. I'm not afraid of my beliefs to be put on the line. I'm not afraid to be wrong, because it'll make me better. But you see, you can enrich me as well and people around you when you go out and live your life, instead of waiting for someone like me to go live my life, post, on this channel, identity content, self improvement content, philosophy, and see if it works for you. Like, you do yourself a huge disservice. And you know what happens? You never actually discover your own thought process, your own opinions, your own voice. You just repeat what other men say. So does that really make you a man, or does it make you a male? What's the difference between you and the average Joe if you're repeating another man's talking points? You can know something and still not embody something. You could know something and still not carry the spirit. And like I said, for me, I got to the point where theorizing, certain things became such an irritation to me. It became self betrayal because I'm like, I'm waiting for other men to live the life that I want to live, to give me permission to become who I'm meant to become. Do you know how homoerotic that is? It got to the point where it's like, I gotta trust what I see with my own eyes and hear with my own ears. Because I was blessed with 2 ears and 2 eyes for a reason. I was blessed with the mouth for a reason. I was blessed with, this body for a reason. And when you don't trust your own voice, you don't trust your leadership as a man, you're gonna find yourself doubting yourself a lot, doubting your opinions, doubting your decisions. And it's all because you've mentally masturbated more than you've actually taken what you've learned and applied it. There's no new videos out there that's going to get you successful, that is going to get you rich. You've already watched them all. You watch everybody successful has a very similar mindset. The difference is their foundation. Their foundation is what really matters. How rooted are they in themselves? And if they lose everything, can they still be themselves? Most people cannot. I had everything. I am a man of the Lord. I still fucked up. My trust is in a higher power, and I still found out I didn't trust him as much as I thought I did. I didn't have as much faith as I thought I did. But you know what? It was the biggest blessing he's ever given me. Because now he's rebuilt me. He's made me better. And now I trust him more, and our relationship, my walk with him has gotten so much clearer. And now, instead of praying to be this type of man so I could get XYZ, I pray I become a man he can trust.